Want to know the differences between MVC and MVVM? Well, stay tuned because in this tutorial I'm going to show you step by step inside a project how you can manage MVC or MVVM according to your needs. So, Alex here from Rebeloper.com. I want you to hit that subscribe button, open up Xcode, and let's dive in. So first thing you need to do is go ahead and check out the link in the description for the resources. You will find a link for this Xcode project that I have pre-built for you because we are going to dive deep into MCV versus MVVM and no BS. We are going to go straight into it. And I'm just going to make this a really short tutorial so you may understand what the differences are. And hopefully you will be able to use any of them when appropriate. So let me just take a look at this project here. So it's a basic project. I have removed the main.storyboard, and in the scene delegate, we are just simply adding the root view controller MVC table view controller in a UI navigation controller. So that is how it's all starting. And here we have MVC. Before we go into MVC, just a reminder that I do have a service. So I just assume that you want to fetch some data from the internet. So this service is just completing with the success and with a model. Now, as you can see here, we have our fetch MVC data and fetch MVVM data. What you have to know is both of them do the same thing. And by the way, the MVC model and the MVVM model are the same. So just so you know, the model and fetching the data are the same. So we can get kind of a comparison of how each architecture works. Now, MVC, Model View Controller. Now, the main idea here is that the controller controls everything. It controls the model, and in turn the model feeds some data to the controller, and the controller controls the view, and also the view controls the controller in forms of input and so on. So let's just take a look at here. So MVC table view controller, we have a really simple table view controller, and what we have here is one section, and we have a data, which is an array of MVC models. And we have the number of rows set to data.count, and set for row at index path. We dequeue the reusable cell here with the identifier now. This identifier is provided in a cell, which I will move to in just a second. And then we add our MVC model basically inside our cell from the data index path dot row. What else do we have here? We set the title, we register the cells, and we fetch some data. Now, we do that with the service.fetchData. Upon success, we grab the data and reload the table view. Now, let's take a look at our view, basically our UI table view cell. Here we have our identifier, which I was talking about just for convenience, and we have that dot completion. And nothing too fancy. We set this to be of type, or the style to be of subtitle. Now, when we do add our model, we are going to grab some things and set up our text label and the detail text label. So just so we know what the model is about, we have a first name, last name, skill level, and age. We are going to kind of display some developers according to their skill levels. Okay, so here we have the text labels text to be the first name from the model and the last name from the model. Now, according to the skill level of this particular object, we are going to set the detail text to junior, mid-level, or senior. As you can see, if it's less than equal to 20 and less than equal than 50. Now, and basically that is it. Model view controller. So let's run this in the simulator and see what we got. There we go. Joe Doe, Ken Don't, Alex Lorem, and junior, mid-level, and senior. And that is inside the model in the service. There we go. Let's just take a look at that. There we go. MVC data. So that is basically that. Now, this is fine, this is okay, and many times in let me just say, not that complicated structures of a project, this is okay. MVC is fine. But let me just point that out, that in some cases you want to go even further to MVVM because of the complexity of the app. Now, as you saw, we have the controller which controls the cells and the model. They are tightly coupled. There's a problem here. And because the R, let's just see here in this set in the MVC model, we are adding this MVC model and we are doing some logic here, which is fine for this example because it's really simple. But it will be a pain when you want to deal with a lot of stuff. Furthermore, as you can see here, we have the MVC model, and on that model, we also have the age, which we're not using it. So if we are not using something, we shouldn't add it there. So that's where MVVM comes in, and we are going to create a view model for this cell. So let me just close this and go to scene delegate and uncomment the second line and comment out the line on 5, sorry. Now let's build and run, and basically what we will get here is the same thing, but with MVVM. Now let me go through and highlight you kind of the advantages of using MVVM. So as you can see, we have a model, view, and view model. Now the model is the same. Just so you know, it is the same. It's just the name of the struct, MVVM model. Okay, and that's why we are using the fetch in the service with MVVM model. Now here we have view, and the view is kind of having this view and the controller. That's because we want to, of course, we want to create the table view controller. So we want to put it somewhere in this kind of groups. And we are putting it inside the view, this view, because we can also have a view model for the view controller's view. So that's why we are putting this, and I set this to view, separated this to view and controller. So we know that these are views and controllers, of course. So let's just take a look at some differences. So let's just go into the table view controller and see what we have changed. And these are minor changes, so you can follow along. First of all, we have changed the title, and we have registers with the new table view cell. We are fetching data with the MVVM data. And yeah, basically that's it. But here and the data, we are having a list of, we are having a list of MVVM models, which we are adding this data. So what we have changed is that on the cell, as you can see, we are adding MVVM view model with the data. Now let's take a look a little bit on that view model, because that's the gist of this tutorial. So this is the only change that we have made, basically. Let's take a look at our view model. Now, this is a really good example of separation of concerns. We are using this view model on the cell, so we are doing the logic for those cells inside our view model. So here we go. We are creating a name and a level string, and inside the initializer, we are providing our MVVM model by injecting this dependency. Now the name will be, and this is, well, this would be okay also in the cell, but you know, we are performing logic here. We are grabbing the first name and the last name from the model and creating a brand new string here. And also we're checking the skill level here. So this is much more cleaner, because we know that the logic is here. Now let's take a look at the cell. So table view cell. This is much cleaner. There we go. Text label.text equals MVVM model. Of course, when we do set the MVVM model, we run these, basically these two lines of code. And yeah, whenever you just want to have a dot notation, that is the most you want to have. Of course, you can have functions or whatever, but MVVM view model dot name or dot level. And basically that's it. Compared to kind of wishy-washy approach on the MVC table view controller, where we kind of create our name here and we check for the skill level. Much more clearer, much more precise. And yeah, this is the power of MVVM. So now you know the differences between MVC and MVVM. It's up to you to use the proper architecture in your project. Now I want you to hit that notification bell, because in the next video I am going to talk about how you can create custom frameworks in Swift. And while you wait for that, make sure to check out these videos as well too. I talk a lot about Swift, Swift UI in general, UI kit, and as usual, I will see you in the next one.